Alright, we're back with the Raw Brunch. Today we're going to start a new series, Tales of the Trip. So, joined with us today is me, Anthony.
I'm Deuce.
Chris. Big Nate.
Ben.
TJ.
I'm Dean.
So, everyone here has tripped before besides me, TJ, and Michael, or Deuce. So to start it off, I want to ask the question, how was your first trip? What was it like? Chris, you start first.
Alright, so I tripped 2 days ago?
2 days ago for his first time
My
ever.
First time ever on acid, right? Or
Yes.
LSD.
Very, very strong LSD.
And my third time.
And to be honest, I think I was also really hammered because we were drinking
We were
beforehand.
drinking a lot.
And after
we smoked it.
After we
Yeah,
did it,
and-
we kept drinking.
Yeah, and we smoked a shit ton, so like, I honestly, I don't even know what to put like into words or anything like that. Like, dude, it was just a wild
Well, like,
ride,
just-
just in my own bed in my mind.
Yeah.
basically.
Just like tell us some of the visuals you were seeing while you were
like
in there.
visuals. So like,
Like, what were you seeing? What were you experiencing?
as weird as it sounds, like I felt like my third eye opened or whatever, like
Yeah.
some stupid shit like that. Like
Like, a lot
I
of
felt
people
like my
say
third
that.
eye opened, and I felt like patterns were just everywhere. Like I would look at the wall, and the wall just tripped me out. Like everything, like in our room, because like our room has so many like different like shit on the wall. So like it's just like, I don't know. Like,
Did you have
it
patterns?
just messed me up. Like I felt like I was seeing patterns in there, and the patterns were changing. So like the wall was
Oh.
never itself.
So, like, were the patterns consistent?
No, like they would change. Like they would phase out. Like it would be so many different ones.
So, like, with,
Like I felt like I was changing through like filters or whatever. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, with LSD, I feel like shrooms, for me personally, are more of a visual experience, while there is also kind of the mind fuck with it. But with LSD especially, it is very, for me at least, it's more in my head. Like, I think more, I have like way more complex thoughts, like, if that makes sense. And there are always visuals. There's the pizza.
Alright,
There's the
we're
pizza.
gonna take a break. Alright, we just got done munching on that pizza. We sent that shit to the shower room. Alright, Chris, continue your story.
All right. So yeah, saw patterns everywhere, and then it felt like a lucid dream because I don't like remember really actually looking because like it was just so many patterns and shit like that. So like I remember waking up the next morning, well after like throwing up a shit ton because drunk. But
Can we also say he threw up in his sink?
Couldn't make it 3 more feet. Not even
Dude,
2 more feet
It's
to the
literally
toilet.
2 steps
Threw
to
up
his
in the
bath to his
sink.
toilet.
I tried to go
Dude.
to the bathroom in the morning, and I couldn't. I had to go to the guest bathroom. I had to walk all the way across the house
I'm
and
sorry.
interact with humans. It was awful.
Dude, the toilet scared me. I'm just saying, the toilet scared me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Is that really why you threw up in the sink?
Oh, no.
Honestly, I didn't turn on the lights, and the only light that I had on was the one on the sink. So it was just like, this is my only light source.
Alright, but
so-
throwing up
so
on acid is the
as-
worst.
As I was saying, tell me what was going on in your head. Because with LSD, it really is more of a mind trip. So what were you experiencing in your head? Because with that acid, like, I've taken a lot of acid before, but with that acid, it was like, I had an ego death, which I'll get to, like, in my turn of the story, but, like, it was strong.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking about? What were you experiencing in your head? Like, what scenarios were you going through?
To be honest, it was just like, there's not a lot of scenario. Like, not that I can actually remember. Like, there's not a lot of things I could really remember from that day because, like, I don't know. I felt like I blacked out almost, and then waking up to Cyberpunk, like that shit just messed me up. Really, like, I was tripping over Cyberpunk and not really like thinking about shit, but like that night, like I really don't remember a lot of shit happening at all. Like I literally like when you guys talk about it, like I'm just like I'm learning this for the first time, and I'm just like, dude, did I really do that? Like,
Yeah.
All
Which
right,
you could
so,
probably attribute to the elk.
So do you have any like things of note you want to add about your first trip? Anything?
bruh, I should have went outside. That's all I'm saying. I was in that room, and I felt like that room was like a box, and that was it. Like,
I was
there
trying to go
no
chill
exit.
outside.
Like,
Y'all were like, nah, it's
It
time to go to
was
sleep.
cold
I
though.
think-
It was cold.
But I was like watching, like, because I was watching Cyberpunk also, so I was like, oh, Cyberpunk's like fucking these huge, like, robotic areas where, like, each corner is, like, deeper and deeper into this, like, what's it called? Like,
Night City.
yeah, it's this night city. So I was like, dude, this room's a night city. Like, I was like, I was just like, the only other rooms in here are like this room and the bathroom. Like, if I go out this room, I'm in Cyberpunk.
dude, oh no, fuck, I can't go out.
All right. So I guess Nate, how was your first trip?
So my first trip, I took this acid called White Fluff, which I took freshman year, and I bought 2 tabs, took one of them, and it was not terribly strong. It was probably like it wasn't a microdose, but it wasn't very strong. And so I just had kind of like a light experience with acid, and I spent most of it like walking around my house in my underwear looking in mirrors. Like just like looking in mirrors and like being like, what the fuck? Like this is so cool. And I would look at my face and like it would look like half of my face was submerged underwater. Like one half of my face was like not submerged underwater, and the other half was just a reflection of that side of my face, if that makes sense. It was so weird. Like I was just tripping balls, obviously, like just what the hell. But yeah, that was my first time. But last night was just crazy, bro. That acid was strong. That was. I thought I was getting like you know 1 tab worth. Like no, that was strong. That
So,
was crazy.
So Ben,
Yes, sir.
how was your first experience with acid?
Well, I was with Dean and Sky and Corey and Forrest, and so it was really crazy. I think I got off a morning shift that morning, and I told my parents I was going. I was probably gonna stay out late, but that didn't end up being the case. It was pretty fun until we had to leave suddenly for undisclosed reasons.
Very ominous.
Yes. I don't know if Forrest wants me to share that information, so I'm not going to.
That's understandable.
But we had to leave, so Corey drove us around downtown. We went to a forest. It was pretty epic. But then I got a call from my mom.
You went to a forest with Forrest?
Yeah, it was for reception.
That tripped
basically.
you out.
So I get a call from my mom, and like I've never felt like this. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on, and we're in this forest, and I get this call, and she asks me questions like where are you? And I'm just like I can't even answer this shit. Just like I'm just like what is going on, bro?
Bro, he was in the shadow realm, bro. He couldn't
She's
even
like-
The sauce, dude, the sauce.
Oh yeah, my friends like heard pure fucking terror. Like I was so scared, bro. And she was like, "You sound high," and I was like, "Yeah." So I ended up going home, and when you come down on acid, sometimes the emotions get to you, and the tears come out. When you start to come down, and I cried for a little bit, but then I was all good. But then it took me like a week to recover, and I was grounded. But I went to y'all's house anyways, like before work and after, secretly. It's pretty epic.
Alright, so last but not least, Sky, how was your first experience?
I think I was maybe 15, maybe 16. I had bought a gel tab and I took like half the tab,
Like a gummy?
like a gel. Yeah, it was
Oh.
like a little square bitch and like shaped
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
pyramid. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of
They were. I think they were fake, to be honest. But
True.
I was pretty young. I was like into playing Roblox and stuff. So I
Roblox
like
is a
dropped
shit.
it and I played with one of my close friends, and it was so fun. Like it was nice. It was fun as fuck. But then the trip started getting like the more I smoked, the more I dreaded it. My mind was just overwhelmed, and I had like so much shit going on, and I was just like scared out of my mind, and like I was afraid to go to sleep because like I was gonna die. Like I was paranoid as fuck. So I stayed up. I smoked until the morning, and then I just like sat outside, and then I deluded myself into sleep by watching Netflix. Pretty much. My mom saw me though at like 6 in the morning, and she looked at me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm terrific." Yeah.
Alright, so the next question I have is, we're going to go around the room. I think we're going to skip Chris because he's only done it once. I want to know, what was the worst trip you've had on acid? Like, that you just genuinely, like, either didn't like or wasn't as good as the rest. I guess we'll start with Nate.
The worst trip I've ever had on acid, and don't make fun of me, but it was actually because I watched this movie on Netflix called The Dirt. Have you ever heard of that movie?
Motley
Yes.
Crue?
So,
Oh, the
yes,
Motley
the Motley
Crue.
Crue.
Oh
Yes.
my god, I love Motley
Which
Crue so
they
much.
are an amazing band.
I
but
fucking love Motley Crue.
I
The
was
movies are
tripping
tense.
dick on 2 tabs, and each tab was probably about like 150 UG, which is pretty strong. And I was watching the Motley Crue.
Was it the heroin part?
No. The heroin part like got to me, it added to it, but I was just watching these like really talented young men, the Motley Crue, just like throw away their lives. And when the blonde dude, I can't remember his name, gets in the wreck,
Oh yeah.
and the other guy dies, and he's like fucking so zooted that he thinks the other dude is talking to him, but then he comes down and he's just like a dead,
Oh yeah,
torn up body.
that's fucked.
And I just
Yeah.
saw that after the whole movie of them just screwing up their lives.
Yeah.
And I just looked at my homie and I was like, bro, I'm having a bad trip. Like straight up, like this
Yeah.
shit is giving me such a bad trip, bro. Like, let's watch the Midnight Gospel, bro. Bro,
Shit calms you
this
down.
shit is giving me such a bad trip because I just like, it's a great movie. And the next
Yeah.
day when I was sober, I watched it and I was like, damn, that was such a good movie. But for whatever reason, when I was tripping, it just gave me such bad vibes, and I was just depressed, and it was ruining it.
Yeah, I'd give a suggestion to anyone who hasn't seen it. You should probably see it. It's really good.
Yeah, it's
The
really
Dirt?
good. The
Yeah,
Dirt. I'm pretty
it's-
sure it's still on Netflix.
It's
No, it is.
probably
It's
yeah.
a Netflix original.
It's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
It's really good.
Isn't Machine Gun Kelly one of the? Is he what's it called? Drummer, right? He's the drummer.
Yeah, he's the drummer.
Yeah.
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 At the end, don't they show like the actual?
Yeah, they
Aren't,
show, like,
aren't,
side by
aren't
side.
they? Isn't like the drummer in the movie at the
Yeah.
end?
At the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he?
He's.
I'm pretty sure he's, like, part of the movie at the
narrating
end.
the whole movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, if you're ever having a bad trip, just put on the Midnight Gospel, bro. That
Yeah,
show on
yeah, it
Netflix,
calms you down.
Such good vibes, man.
It
That
calms
show
you
is
down.
so good.
Dude,
I've
like,
only watched the
the
Midnight
background
Gospel.
doesn't even matter. Like,
Yeah, it's all the dialogue.
Like it's the dialogue is like an actual like conversation. Like the background is just for fun. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah, but
they
again,
have
that's
those
what I like
visuals
about it.
to
Like
play.
again, when you're watching it,
really-
you pay attention to different things.
Yeah, I really think that show was made for people who are just tripping dick.
No, definitely.
100%. All
What
right.
show?
Is
It's
it
like
my
another
turn?
show.
Midnight
So then-
Midnight Gospel.
So then, it's your turn. What was your worst trip?
It was actually the other night. I laid awake all night. I literally didn't sleep at Chris's house. I was unresponsive for a little bit. I remember. Because you told me. And I know I didn't sleep because I was literally laying there with my eyes open all night. And it was so awful because there was nothing on the TV. I couldn't find I couldn't find anything because I was like just fucked. And I was just like sitting there with no like vape, no phone. I didn't know how to turn the TV on, and I figured that would probably bother someone. So I was just like sitting there, you know.
I don't know if you remember this, but there was a good half hour where you were telling us "fuck my phone" because you thought you left it in the Uber.
Yeah.
You kept telling us it was gone
Dude, I
forever.
thought it was in the Uber and it was plugged in by the
It was by the couch in the living room, just chilling. there.
literally where I
And
left
you thought
it.
it was in the.
I thought I left it
No, it's-
because we Ubered to Devon's.
No, it's also funny. I had your vape in my pocket literally the whole time.
Wait, this?
Yeah.
You had it?
Yeah.
It was in my
Wait, but I
pocket.
had it.
Of course.
Did
you
I hand it to you
because he
though?
was just
You-
I
chilling
probably
in
hand-
bed.
I probably handed it to you.
You literally or I
Wait,
don't
but
even know if you
Devin-
handed it to
Devin
me, but
let-
I just remember like the next day I woke up and I looked in my pocket and it was still there.
Devin left his there, and I was using that for a bit, but I couldn't even find that
Mm-hmm.
when I was like just sitting there.
Yeah, we found it literally today.
I didn't even find that. Did he go for it? Did he come by for it? Cause he asked me where it was. I told him it was somewhere
Nah, I
else.
didn't
I
know.
was
We dropped it off. Bro.
okay.
Alright, so last again, Sky, what was your worst trip?
I don't think I've ever had just one worst trip. I've had a collection of bad trips.
Well, let's just go through them.
Most
I would
of
just
the,
say which one's the most notable.
Speed
Most-
round.
the most notable one though was when I was living in Elm Heights. I had just moved back to my dad's house, and it was pretty nice. I got acid from one of the plugs. But rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was sitting in my room. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was from Will.
Ooh.
My dad was gone for the whole week, so I was just like in my house by myself, and I just had a complete ego death. Like I was tearing myself to shreds, like on my reality, like my friendships, like who I am as a person. Everything felt really fake, and I was like, do I even have like these like trustworthy people in my life? Like just like big questions, and it was just hard to comprehend all of them. And at one point, I started seeing like ghosts, like demons and shit above my, my head at the top of my roof, and it felt like those demons were like shit from me. Like my fears came out, and like they were just haunting me and surrounding me, and I was like covering my face, and I was just like really fucking going through it. And then I ran out of my room and I went to the bedroom, and no, I went to the living room and I just like sat down and I started compulsively cleaning, because that's what I do when I'm going through shit, like especially when my parents are yelling at me or something. I compulsively clean. And I started like deep cleaning the house while I was like going through all my shit, like having cycles and meltdowns in my head. And then Will came over and he was like, just straight. And then I was like, okay, I was straight. So,
Alright, so now I'm gonna switch to the opposite. What was the best trip? And we're gonna start going this way because I feel bad making you go last every time.
okay. The best trip I've ever had. Let's see here. I don't think I've ever had. Okay. It's not like black and white about it. I think the best one was when I was with Ben and Forrest and Corey and Dean. The acid was so good. Like I remember sitting in Forrest's the other living room with all the like crazy looking furniture.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing like, it sounded like I was listening to like a really good microphone, like a really good podcast. So we were sitting in
My gosh.
his other living room with the crazy looking furniture, and the room started spacing out, and it sounded like we were listening to a really good podcast, ours basically. I don't know how to describe it, but there was like a bunch of noises in my ear other than their voices, and it was just weird. It was bizarre. I don't know how to describe it. It was like I was listening to the music of the universe, almost. The music of the room. And then I started seeing a bunch of eyes appear, like the visuals started getting really crazy. And I moved out of that room into this little chair that was in the corner, and I was just sitting in it like I was in a rocket ship or something. And it was like I was seeing the universe like breathing more, like just like reality, like just my vision, and like seeing the eyes, and like it was opening and closing and like breathing, and it just like threw me off. Everything started getting distorted and stuff, but
Wow,
it
that's
was
wild.
it was nice in a way. Yeah.
So,
Very eye opening. Third eye opening.
so Ben,
We're-
we're
that
starting.
that room, I remember like we were so. The first thought when we all went in there was like, bruh, it looks like we're posing for like an old Renaissance photo. We were all sitting in these like nice chairs, like just sitting. Someone was like laying down. It looked like we were fucking posing in a painting. It was so weird. But then like it felt like all of a sudden it felt like a fish, like we were all in a fishbowl. It was. So, I remember that shit. We were talking about it.
That's because that room had just like that giant window
Yeah.
pane just like in front of
But I
it. Like,
remember
anybody can come and look
It felt
through.
like a fishbowl, and it was real
Yeah.
echoey.
So is that your best trip?
Oh, that day was, yeah. Even after like I got in trouble, like we had a few hours after that even, and we went to like this other place in the forest, and it was just super nice. It was super colorful.
All right, Nate, what's your best trip then?
My best trip was honestly the other night at Chris's, definitely, because I just had this, like, at the beginning of the trip, we were watching The Other Guys. Remember that
Oh,
shit?
yes.
We were watching The Other Guys.
Wait, you guys watched The Other Guys as
Yeah.
I was tripping?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even remember that.
Because you were sitting in your room.
You were sitting in
Yeah,
our
you
in
were
our
in the room. You were in the
Bro,
room.
you didn't.
I came
Bro,
in and
we
told
did.
you. I came in and
did
told
tell
you.
you.
I came in and told you, hey, we're
I-
watching a movie. Come out if you want to watch
I
it.
hate myself because I love The Other Guys. That movie's so good.
It's really good. I'm the one who
Yeah, it
suggested it, so.
True, Anthony. So we were watching The Other Guys, and for whatever reason, in my head, I kept on getting this feeling of finality. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but this feeling of something about tonight is final. And I went into Chris's room and laid down on the bed. And the more I thought, the more I was like listening to something that was playing in your room. I can't even remember what it was. It could have been a show. And everything they talked about was about death. And so I just kind of spiraled into this whole thing of, like, I had this feeling that something about tonight is final, and I keep on hearing the word death. And so I just kept on thinking about, like, death, and like how I haven't even, like, really truly pondered for hours on end, like, what I really believe about what comes after death. And I started, like, really honestly tripping because it felt like if I fell asleep the next morning, I wouldn't wake up. Like, I felt like for whatever reason, like, this was my final night. And it just, like, catapulted me into this, you know, I stayed up all night long from when we dropped until like 8 o'clock in the morning, and the entire time I was thinking about death and thinking if I fell asleep, this was it, or even if I didn't fall asleep, this was it, this was my final night. And I can't remember what it was, but for whatever reason, like, it was really linked to you, Chris. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about you, Chris, and like, how was your first night? And I was like, why do I keep thinking about Chris? Like, somehow Chris is linked to this. And you were in the bathroom for like 3 fucking hours. And I kept on thinking like, oh, something's wrong with Chris. Like, what the fuck is wrong? And when you came out of the bathroom and you were like, I'm good! And like celebrating.
That was a
Whatever
lie.
reason-
He was not good. He puked.
Yeah,
in
he
his sink.
definitely
In
puked.
the
He was
sink.
fucking lying his ass off to
It
us.
was so
we didn't
nasty.
even find out he puked in the sink until the next morning.
Dude,
And
none of
so-
us even noticed.
For whatever reason, when he came out and said he was good, like, in my mind, everything clicked, and I was like, oh, I'm not dying tonight. This was all a trip. And I've really been lucky to have learned something about, like, what my values are and what I believe after death. And, like, for a little bit there, when I actually was convinced that it was my last night, I was like, Jesus, if I actually live after this night, I'll be the luckiest man on earth to like have this knowledge about myself and what I truly want. And I don't know, like, that may sound like dumb as fuck, but like, I really that was like a really good trip. I figured out a lot of shit about what I want to do with my life and the values I have and what is really important to me. And the next morning I like went to my mom and I was like, I fucking love you. Like,
wow, it sounds like this man went through like a whole experience.
yeah, it was
just a
fucking
trip, right? You know,
Sounds like a really healing, really healing experience.
I do have something to add to my story. One of the best fucking parts of that day was we were on the lawn, and like the sky had patterns, and like everything had patterns. We were laying in the lawn and just like laughing our asses off about everything. It was just great. But like the funniest shit, and Sky reminded me of this, like somebody mentioned that meme that's like this floor is made of floor. And like we could not stop, like it was the funniest shit that day. It's just like we'd say whatever it was, this table is made of table, bro. And Forrest would not stop fucking laughing, even after everything that happened, the reason we had to leave. He was still dying about this, and like he was not concerned about anything else until like later that day.
Alright, so last but not least, fuck you, Chris. Yeah, you don't have another story?
I mean,
you already
like,
said yours.
I mean, like,
you already said
honestly,
your story.
dude, the patterns. I'm gonna go back to the patterns. Dude. The patterns were fucking me up. Dude. I remember, like, dude, the light was shining off, and like I felt it on my face, and I just felt like shiny, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Alright,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go on to my next question. I want to know, how do y'all rate LSD, acid, compared to like, so like how would you rate it? I want to know like between everything else you've done, where would you rate this? I guess we'll do it like on a 1 to 10 scale. Like where would you put it? Like 10 being the best, 1 being like not that great.
Overall collective summary of all my trips, I think like a 7.2. 7.2, yeah.
It's pretty good. Ben?
Out of everything I've done, weed, alcohol, nicotine, acid. That's about it. I used to take stimulants, but those are prescribed to me, so I hated those. Those are on the bottom, but then it's acid, and then everything else on top.
So what's the number?
What's the number?
I don't know, maybe like a 5. Like it was alright, but I'm not feeling very confident about doing it again.
Nate?
So for me, just because like I love weed. I know the viewers can't see me, but for those who know me, I look like the most fucking stereotypical stoner you could ever meet. Got long ass hair, but acid would definitely be like a 9 at least for me, because with psychedelics, whatever it being, acid, shrooms, DMT, it really can open up a door mentally for you to figure out so much shit about yourself and values if you do it right that not really any other drug can. Now I know like weed, like you can really think about a lot of shit on weed and figure it out, but with acid it's just like you're on a whole nother level with your thinking process. Like your brain is like, I don't even know how to explain it. For the people who have done it, you know what I'm saying, but like you just
that higher
cannot
function of thinking.
yeah, you just can't explain acid.
Chris? Or Nate? Or I mean Chris, give us your rating.
Well, Nate, number.
He did give us
Oh,
a
my
number.
number.
You said
yeah,
nine.
9.
Chris, give us a number.
Honestly, I'd give it a 50 or a 5 also. So maybe like 50%. Yeah.
Give it a 50 out of 10.
I'd give it a
boys.
5 out of 10. Mostly because like it was good and all, but if I wasn't super drunk, I feel like if I like remembered it more, it'd be great.
Yeah,
You know?
I think that like to my knowledge, a rule about acid is you shouldn't really drink when you drop. But you were kind of balls deep with the drinks.
Yeah, I was
and
already
you wanted
like-
to drop, so it was like, fuck
It
it.
was already like 3 shots in, like
Yeah.
5 beers down, like.
Yeah, you're drinking a lot, alright.
So I want to... Does anyone have anything else they want to say about acid before we wrap it up here?
No,
Don't
we should
overdo
probably
it.
wrap it up.
Do
Don't
not
overdo it.
do not do acid. Just because we did it doesn't mean you should do it.
You should
Monetize.